Join us as we ride from central Utah to Great Basin National Park in Nevada. Our day starts surrounded by national forest. We ride on the loneliest road in America through the desert to Great Basin National Park. Starting at Otter Creek Reservoir, traveling north on Highway 62, we have Fishlake National Forest on our west and Capitol Reef National Park to our east. Riding through the town of Greenwich. According to the U.S. Census, in 1880, Greenwich had 514 residents. In the 2000 census, the population was 67. The town of Koosharem. The name Koosharem comes from the Paiute tribe that was native to this area. Koosharem meaning grass valley, named after the meadows and clover in the area. The town's only store shares this name, being called Grass Valley Mercantile. Koosharem also has a church, baseball diamond, motel, and 2 restaurants. This is a therapeutic boarding school on a working ranch for teens. Koosharem is mostly a farming community, but this ranch does supply jobs for the locals. Tourism is also important here, being surrounded by national forests and national parks close by. Turning north on Highway 24, keeping Fishlake National Forest to our west and Monte La Salle National Forest to our east. The Koosharem Reservoir. The Koosharem Reservoir is 20 feet at its deepest. It is man-made by damming Otter Creek and has been stocked with trout. The shoreline is publicly and privately owned. There is a day-use picnic area. This area is also well known for hunting. Common animals here are elk, deer, mountain lion, mountain goats, and turkeys. Other native animals include grouse, prairie dogs, rabbits, and eagles. Mud Spring, and yes, that's its real name. Riding through the Rainbow Hills. Although the name is plural, Rainbow Hills applies to one summit on the left, and I'm not sure it's one we can see from the road. We are out of the national forests here, so this is privately owned property. The town of Sigurd. In the 2000 U.S. Census, Sigurd had a population of 430 people. It has a meat processing company and a gypsum company as employers of the town. Staying on Highway 24 North. As usual, we are avoiding the interstate and checking out the local ride instead. The town of Salina. We ate lunch at Mom's Cafe downtown, got gas, and headed west on West Main Street in town, which is also US 50. Riding out of town and turning west on Highway US 50. US 50 goes from Maryland to California. This section is known as the loneliest road in America. Most of it riding through desert in Nevada. Fishlake National Forest is still to our left, which now is south. Scipio Lake. Scipio Lake is just outside the National Forest. However, it is a public lake with day use and fishing. The town of Scipio. There are many pioneer-style homes in Scipio that are on the National Register of Historic Places, as well as the town hall, which was built in 1935 and now includes a museum. There was a Fort Scipio here at one time. Highway 50 joins I-15, but not for long. Going off I-15 to continue US 50 going west. There are cattle guards and cattle in the area, but we have not seen any cattle on the road. Highway 50 does do a couple of zigzags in the middle of nowhere. Now away from the farmland, we are getting the real feeling of the loneliest road in America. Staying on Highway 50, turning west. Although it's not busy, we did see more vehicles than we expected. The town of Delta. The Topaz Relocation Camp, Great Basin Museum, and the Gunnison Massacre Site are some of the historic places you can visit in Delta. Stopping for gas again? This is the beginning of where it got super windy, and it stayed this way the rest of the day. We were told the wind is normal for this area. A brave bicyclist and now a biker riding by themselves on the loneliest road in America. We were thinking this is a wolf on the right and not a large dog. Found a road to get to the lake. Severe Lake, also known as Severe Dry Lake. There's water out there somewhere, and a sign before this turnaround asking people not to drive on the lake, as although it looks dry, it is quite soft with the water underneath. Taking a short ride in the sand, still above the lake bed. It's super windy out here on the lake. Time to stop playing and get back to the pavement. The few hills in the desert in western Utah. This section of Highway 50 is really pretty and a lot of fun to ride. Really nice to be out of the wind in the flat desert. Coming out of the mountains on the west side. Our first sight of Great Basin National Park with the snow-capped peaks way in the distance. still super windy in these low flat sections. The Border Inn, Diner, and RV Park at the border of Utah and Nevada. Highway 50 looking west towards Great Basin. The border of Utah and looking east into the Utah desert. On the road again after a quick fill-up. Turning off of US 50, heading towards Great Basin National Park. The outskirts of Baker. Thanks for joining us on our first section of the loneliest road in America. Hit like and subscribe and you'll be notified for our next video, which will be Great Basin National Park. Follow me on Facebook and YouTube at Biking with Butterfly and Instagram at BikingWB.